Yeah.
Oh,
I was kind of. This is something. They're maybe. Yeah.
Oh, wait.
Oh. Why do we? All right, tell me one.
Yeah, ready.
Okay. All right, well, it's nice to see so much enthusiasm and energy here. Sometimes we come in and not even acknowledge one another. Good, maybe it's summer, right? So I guess I'm calling to order the July 15th, 2020 meeting of the Salem Planning Commission. As a big captain here, bang, starting. All right, and Jennifer will read the call to order here, the roll call.
Commissioner Fott.
Here.
Commissioner Fryback.
Here.
Commissioner Heller.
Here.
Commissioner Laura Midkiff. Commissioner Rhodes.
Here.
Commissioner Slater.
Here.
Commissioner Tev. Commissioner Vera Brindell.
Here.
We have quorum.
All right, our first thing is to see if there's anyone with public comments. Given the room is completely empty, I'm gonna move on and ask if we have a motion to approve the minutes.
I move to approve the minutes from the July 1st, 2025 meeting of Salem Planning Commission.
All right, good. Vice President Fogg, get a second. Second, thank you. Any questions or discussions on the motion for the minutes? Hearing none, Jennifer, can I again call the roll for us?
Commissioner Fott.
Aye.
Commissioner Fryback.
Aye.
Commissioner Heller.
Abstain.
Commissioner Laura Midkiff.
Aye.
Commissioner Slater.
Aye.
Commissioner Rhodes.
Aye.
Commissioner Tev.
Aye.
Commissioner Vera Brindell.
All right, motion passes. We have no resolutions, no action items. I am going to add an item on the special orders of business, which is to discuss the Salem Airport. All right, unless there's any objections to that conversation. Nope, all right, in that case, I think, Mr. Brown, you have the floor. Do we need to read the criteria here?
No.
For continuance?
No, for continuance.
Correct.
Oh, okay, I guess this is an actual public hearing, so I will open it now.
As continued with last hearing, with the last planning commission hearing, the comprehensive plan, neighborhood plan change and zone change case CPC, NPC, and ZC 25-01 was continued due to the notice hearing signs not being posted within the required 10 days before the hearing. As the hearing was continued, the notice signs were left in place, fulfilling that notice period.
So we met the legal requirements.
Met the legal requirements. And as such, staff recommend that the planning commission approve with conditions that the minor comprehensive plan, neighborhood plan change and zone change from industrial IND to IC industrial commercial and for the zoning IBC Industrial Business Campus to IC Industrial Commercial.
Thank you. And since I guess there's no additional testimony.
No additional testimony has been provided at this time.
There's the record we're dealing with is the record that we had. First met. Okay, in that case, I'm closing the public hearing.
Normally we would go through and say the applicant, they
Right.
go through all the things again, but nobody's here, so
All
unless there's
right.
questions of staff.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So while the record is open, do we have any questions for staff? No. I read that application. It was very clear cut and straightforward. I didn't have any questions. Shockingly. So then I will close the public hearing. I will now close the public hearing. Thanks. Great. Is there any discussion? Well, stop. We need a motion. Thank you, Vice President Vaughn.
All right, I move that we accept staff's recommendation and approve case number CPC NPC ZC 25-01.
Thank you. May I have a second?
Second.
Second from Commissioner Rhodes. I saw her. Right. So we go with the second from Commissioner Rhodes. Is there any discussion on the motion? Said I don't really have anything. I thought it was very clear cut, straightforward. Is that how other people read that? Okay. So are we ready to vote then? All right, Jennifer, we can call the roll yet again.
Commissioner Fott,
Aye.
Commissioner Fryback,
Aye.
Commissioner Heller,
Abstain.
Commissioner Lara Midkiff.
Aye.
Commissioner Rhodes, Commissioner Slater,
Aye.
Commissioner Tev.
Aye.
Commissioner Vieira Brindell.
All right, motion passes. Sammy. All right, thank you. Then move on to the special orders of business, discussion of the airport. So I wanted to put that on for several reasons. One reason is that this body serves as the primary advisory to the city council. So our mandate there is quite broad, although a lot of our time is spent on land use. There is no means restricted to a land use conversation. And the second reason is because the airport sits on 751 acres of property. And that is currently used for the airport, but given that we have a history of failed civil aviation here. I thought it might be a worthwhile conversation to see if maybe there are alternative uses for the airport land, especially given that we have a housing crisis. And I've heard continuously that flat developed land is at a premium around here. So I thought that this might be a good time to decide whether or not we want to suggest to the city council that they explore alternative uses for the airport. I personally would consider recommending that we recommend the city council engage a consultant to consider and deliberate over whether or not the airport land would be better used as a kind of large scale mixed use development or a cluster of different types of developments, as opposed to continuing on the path of trying to recruit a new air service. But I could be just me.
I think that's a great idea, and I also think I read recently that one of the two runways is falling into disrepair. So there's even options maybe for to try to cover all of it, but some of it, because the cost for repair of that runway might be more expensive than we're really gonna be able to justify. So I think this is a prime opportunity to at least initiate that discussion. Because as you said, there is a lot of land. And we do have a big housing crisis that we are continually bringing up, we don't know how to fix. So I agree.
Other thoughts? Yes, please.
I would say the main purpose of our airport is not commercial service. We have hundreds of flights a day that are for private business, so CEOs and people would run businesses, Salem, wineries, et cetera, use our airport to access their business, and they bring in a lot of tourism dollars in airport fees. City does have a consultant, it's working on an airport master plan update. I don't really know any more about it than that, because it's not really, I don't think it's gonna affect land use necessarily, but it's about like the use of the airport and impacts on that, so it might be a good idea to ask for airport staff to do a presentation. It's through the airport, what actually goes on there, what kind of money they make or don't. I think they make money, but maybe I'm wrong. And then what the master plan is covering. That can help with this conversation. It's helpful.
I think that would be a good first step. I would be wary of going too far down the path of designating that area for, different types of housing without too much of a deep dive, so that we don't find ourselves kind of creating, outskirts type housing for different populations and, I think the affordable housing conversation comes up frequently and, it's not necessarily a high use commercial airport, but, there is a lot of noise pollution that goes along with being next to the airport and it's kind of industrial space. So I think just making sure that we understand all of the surrounding factors and that we don't create unintended consequences from saying, well, have this available land, we should turn it into a housing, for example. So they need to consider.
Yeah, I know the city council is commissioned a report, or at least we're taking part in a study about PFAS at the airport site that's being used for firefighting foam, otherwise known as scrubber chemicals. Really informative video on that a few months ago by Veritasium. And it's basically talks about how these chemicals are, once you consume them or you're in an area that has them, they become part of you and that makes you at risk of various types of cancers and stuff. And I know this area has a history of being used as an industrial use. And I know cities like Portland have, again, the Northwest Industrial area, they have identified areas in their city that will continue to be used as an industrial. I know Salem, they kind of wanting to bring good manufacturing jobs or other kinds of employment to the city that's not, government or healthcare or other things. We want to expand our reach, and I think the airport property is a good spot for that. I know there's a lot of noise pollution going on, flights and stuff, and I'm just a little hesitant on putting housing in an area like that. I know that we can pursue like infill and other kinds of developments to reach our housing goals, but I'm not on taking like an industrial area that could have ground pollution and noise pollution and possibly right next to emissions. Place to walk. So I'm just a little bit apprehensive there.
So and are you apprehensive because you think the airport will still be in operation, or do you think people around an existing airport?
Yeah, I mean, I don't see us ever getting rid of an airport. I think it's a valuable asset to have. I know like Tillamook has an airport, all kinds of different towns along the coast have airports. Almost everywhere has an airport, and I feel like it's an important asset to have as a city, especially was in listened to a meeting, the airport presented to the city council, and they talked about how our airport's like an operations base, like in case there's the Cascadia earthquake. That's where all of the supplies and life-saving equipment is just distributed out. The bridges aren't going to be as good as they are now. So I think it's important to consider that the airport's going to be around. And I think that maybe we don't need two runways, but it'd be good to preserve the land around that for like industrial or something that can allow for job growth, to give our residents kind of a buffer from the previous harmful chemicals that maybe at the airport.
Thank you. My understanding is that Redmond is actually will be the base for Cascadia response.
Yeah, I was thinking like more for like Malone Valley, like can't get supplies from Salem to Redmond after the earthquake because they're just going down landslides and other things like that. So I don't see Salem.
Other comments?
I would say with your conversation about noise pollution. We have the airport there, we have residential that's just right across the road there, and they do experience that already. So is the airport in the best location to facilitate the growth for city? Question for, if they're having to look at redoing the runway, is that really the right place for an airport? These kind of run around and
Does the master, Lisa, do you know if the master plan is addressing some of these questions? They kind of,
It's more of a
show,
plan,
right?
yes.
Other thoughts?
That I know, but we could ask the airport engineer.
Commissioner Larkin?
Just to add.
I think I'm always generally interested in finding more creative space, so we go for that conversation. The only thing I would add, that others haven't, is that the state also uses it a lot, that's the military. In addition to commercial use, and they use it a lot, and ODOT uses it. Several cities use it, going into the. It is a major source of access for those folks. So that's just me, a general consideration. I think. I want to have a recommendation. Consideration on the other issues. I also know that some major private dollars in that are reasonable. So, sensitive response to this, they're both the same.
I'm pro exploring. I would say let's not prescribe something for council to decide on, like when they decide, like council. And then I'd also be interested in what, if the neighborhood association has been involved in the recent development of the airport and what they had to say.
Lisa, is there a neighborhood association that leads the airport?
Yes.
Oh, that neighborhood association.
Yes. I think it's some cut, but I tried to picture it in my head. That's the.
That's not a funny name for neighborhood association representing the Morris Airport.
That's what it asks, I've seen.
Oh,
Other thoughts?
I did have, where I know the airport is a flat area and it's relatively low lying. That's what the point is.
A little portion of it is, and there are some mapped buttons.
Okay.
I think I read the most recent updated master plan, and it calls for the use of one extended runway. So I think the plan is to eliminate one runway and length of the existing runway, but I don't know the length of time. Other comments? I think just a couple of responses to Commissioner Fryback. One of the things that I've been frustrated here for, which has been around since about 1950 something. Before you started. Okay, all right. Is that they've been trying to market that space for light industrial and airport related activities for over 50 years now. And there's still a significant amount of rentable land that they're trying to lease, and they haven't been able to do that. And we are competing with Corvallis, which has OSU there with an aviation facility, and we also compete to some extent with Eugene, of course, which has a much bigger. So I think those are some of the considerations, and as you said, every city has an airport practically, and everyone's trying to recruit the same sort of airport related light industrial manufacturing work. So I'm not sure that we have a competitive advantage, or at least we haven't over the past 50 years, a competitive advantage. So I'm not sure to what extent the market is going to change dramatically that would allow us to take advantage of those unused spaces for that kind of work. So I guess that would be kind of one of my thoughts. So I guess I heard a couple of things. One is to be aware of the fact that there's already some considerable investment and a great deal of private sector use on the airport. Is that be a summary release of comments? State and private sector use. Do we know the volume of state use? I know the state got rid of their corporate planes,
I
right?
used to know, I don't.
Okay, okay. Let me ask one question that we can ask.
And the National Guard too, right?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
Oh,
Is-
lot.
So leaving aside the helicopters, were there a lot of actual planes, do we know?
it's a very, very busy airport. I don't know if that's like state or
Very busy,
federal.
uh,
I think there's a lot of private, some of it just for recreation, but then a lot of jets. Personal jets. But, it'd be great if we asked John Pascal would come.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
Maybe an adjacent conversation that could be worth having is. And this is, you know, complete just musing, so I don't have any information on this concept, but. You know, maybe we explore the possibility of land swaps to recapture some properties that are more proximate within the downtown area and the immediate radius outside of downtown. And maybe there are some properties that would be better suited out in light industrial areas, like car dealerships and things like that that are, you know, really on prime real estate for mixed use and housing purpose. Maybe there's something
So
to
that'd
be.
be something outside the EGP consent, that's fine.
I mean, the city owns the property at the airport, but we have private ownership of things like car dealerships within downtown or not downtown. So immediately outside of downtown, and potentially there's some sort of a different that could be struck, so
We would have
dealerships.
fewer forever chemicals in the soil, say.
It doesn't really matter if you're parking cars out there, but we could have mixed use housing on very large pieces of
Yes,
property.
that's
Right off of the commercial.
Yeah, I like that.
So it's like. That's commercial.
Sure, okay. Other comments? So one of the things that I think makes this conversation a little bit hard is because, as you said, you know, we have a significant investment in the airport already. Lots of people think of it as just for big towns, the airport, that's what big towns have. And there's nothing really to say, but here's what an alternative looks like. Whether it's more light industrial, whether it's a land swap, whether it's some mix of housing and light industrial, or, you know, 750 acres, you can have housing, light industrial, and other things in that space. And I feel like without exploring or even trying to assign a value to what that alternative space could look like, we're just stuck with the facts of here what the airport does, and we have no counterfacts to have a real conversation about it. So I don't know what the potential of 750 acres, not all of it can be developed, right? What a different kind of mix of land use might be and what kind of revenue it might generate. First, if it's you know, anything but what's there now, we're probably gonna get a tax benefit out of that. It'll be private ownership as opposed to public ownership. I think the fact it's on Mission Street is an advantage because it's a central corridor and it's not a pleasant place to walk right now, in part because we've got an airport. It might also generate some additional development where we hit the Kmart, other areas. So I look at that maybe as possibly like a generator for additional space around that neighborhood. But my larger question isn't exactly so much, should we recommend replacing the airport? We should not recommend replacing the airport. The question is, should we recommend the city council explore alternative uses so we can have a question around value choices? Is in the long term, over the next 50 years, is it better that that's, you know, privately owned housing and light manufacturing and other things, the economy, the state, the payroll tax issues, is that a better use, or is it a better use to keep it where it's at, with or without additional service? And I think I think it's a good question to ask now, because it's in people's minds. Because we don't have the commercial service anymore, and I think there's a feeling like, well, if we don't have the commercial service, then, you know, what's the value of the airport? And maybe it just needs to be quantified. And if we quantify the value of the airport, in terms of what it provides, both politically, but also financially, maybe that's helpful. And some of that concern will go away. But again, if we can't actually compare it to something else, then it's just, I would call it just kind of like a habit. And the airport had a habit that benefits some people. We're not quantifying what the alternatives are. So that's a little bit where I'm coming from, is that in order to make a long-term and smart, thoughtful decision about the airport space, we need to have some alternative ideas and kind of value them, so that we can make a final plot comparison. That's a little bit where I'm at now. It seems like a good time, especially since we're in a master planning process. And we haven't invested another $20-30 million into the airport for a new runway and all the other materials that go in it. But I'm happy to have a longer conversation, and I'm happy to get John in. I think the problem is, again, just sitting here listening to all the wonderful things the airport does, but then not having any conversation about what else could be done with the 750 acres. Leaves us in a position of saying, well, it's great, we're done. Instead of saying, maybe this could be a lot better.
Yeah, I need more facts about the airport usage to start with. And then we can expand to other uses. I'm not comfortable yet expanding to include what it does.
Other thoughts?
Is there any IBQ testing on that site as far as what is buildable? I'm not sure if everyone's be interested if there's not one.
I don't think yet, I think they're starting the testing to see the extent.
Is it primarily related to the fire station there? Or is it just like the whole?
I think it's related to fire.
I think it's the fire, that's my understanding as well.
Of fire suppression testing and, that tower?
Yeah,
Training centers.
Yeah.
There, I mean, potentially are tanks around that.
Yeah.
I think.
In terms of fuel tanks?
Yeah.
Cardio.
If you're tapping it.
Right.
If you're tapping it with a car, then you're fine, you know. It's mitigated.
It's really good.
Yeah.
We can reach out to John then. I think
Okay.
you volunteered to do that.
Sure.
And we can just pick up this conversation next time, well, after his presentation. To this conversation, okay? Does that sound good? Okay, well, good, good. I appreciate your time about this with something. So we'll move on then. This gets us to. Well, we're already, information reports. Yes, so I can tell you the Wetlands Committee is waiting on the wetland report and the meetings, the technical advisory meetings.
Yes.
So there's nothing that we should have done that we have not done yet. Which means we're on schedule.
Yes.
And how is the scheduling for the Varian inventory?
You're waiting for the mayor to.
That's for the Technical Assistance Committee. Okay, and how about this, the ongoing staff? That seemed to be kind of close to these.
Yes.
Close.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, they have enough staff. Okay.
But not ready to have the committees, but also. Continuing to wait for the mayor.
She's not full-time.
We have a new, we have a new counselor and some shop. Committee assessments. So.
That makes sense.
Maybe.
So that's where the Wetlands Committee, and interestingly, I learned that the North Santiam Watershed Council received an extremely large NOAA grant that will be used to remove fish passages all up and down the North Santiam, including in Salem,
Barriers.
What?
Barriers, not passages.
fish barriers. Yes, the opposite. The opposite. Non-passage structures is what they will be attempting to remove here, including 2 in Salem, which is Ball Dam, and the one up by the penitentiary. So that's very exciting. It's a NOAA grant. It's actually been dispersed.
Oh,
Okay.
actually.
Yes.
Even better. So that's a little bit of good news as well.
How much is the lot?
I think $5 to $10 million. And it's for the complete engineering drawings for all removals. So what that means is that once their project is done, they'll be able to turn to each city and say, here's the complete drawing for everything you need to do. And then the cities, assuming they want to do it, will have the appropriate funds to actually build it, but they will have all the engineering drawings for it. So. Excited. And transportation I know is active.
Yes, however, no news yet, we didn't meet last week, I was in New York City, so I got to experience other kinds of forms of transportation. So, bus, I think the biggest takeaway that I had, from that whole trip, you know, it's the biggest city in the country, millions of people. Didn't hear it, I think I heard like crazy racing things with their cars on any street that I saw, you know, like the Brooklyn, Manhattan, Queens, Staten Island, almost every borough. None of that. Come back here in Salem, slept with my window open, it was all night. So I think that was pretty incredible. You know, we still stayed in a hotel overnight, Midtown Manhattan. Almost super quiet at night, but out here in Salem, so. I thought that was pretty interesting, and then, just people get around completely differently over there. I mean, my partner and I were walking down the street in Queens. You know, there were single stair buildings on the other side of the street, lots of beautiful trees, and a bunch of school buses were driving by. They were all full of kids that were just getting on summer camp, they started dropping their kids off. It's really fun to see parents pick their kids up off the school bus and they walk home, or maybe they, you know, wait at the bus stop, take the bus back home. And there's this one dad, this little girl were sitting down at the bus stop, waiting for the bus to come, and he was trying to teach her how to tie her shoes, but she wasn't not paying attention. And it gives me hope. I think Salem can get there to similar form of transportation, subway, but maybe better bus service so parents can pick their kids up from the bus. I thought that was really nice, and I had a good time.
Thank you.
Oh, also, plug for the Tenement Museum. Anybody's ever heard of it? It's a very, very cool museum in Lower Manhattan. Yeah, they've got an entire apartment building that was built like in the late 1800s, and you can book a tour of any one of the apartments in that apartment building. They've got the apartments set up so you can experience the life of the residents that were living there during a specific time period. So I toured 2 apartments. One was a family that was living there in like 1890, and then another one was a woman, Chinese immigrant that lived in that same building in the 1880s. So it's a pretty cool experience. Yeah. There's your transportation side.
Any other updates? No. We'll move on then to administrative report, everyone's favorite from the meeting.
We have 3 presentations coming up, so we have, right, we asked you to come back to talk about the manufacturing strategy and go to movement we're working on that came out of that. And then Robin to talk about process improvement, and they both with these on September 16th.
Think so.
Excuse me,
Yeah.
16th. And then Mark Bechtel is going to come talk about transportation funding, Salem, gas tax and our funding for the whole project. Invested, and he's willing and happy to do that, and maybe September 2nd, or maybe in October. So 3 recommendations, so waiting on that date. Don't have any cases scheduled.
No.
So we would cancel or not. Our next dates are August 5th and then August 19th. And I will not be here on the 19th, but then sure, Olivia will be happy to come. We are working on a new location. We reached out to Cherry. The room is not available on our normal meeting dates. Tuesday or whatever. It's only available one of those, right? So I'm trying to get the schedule of just all the regular meetings of what these are available, and then I would come back with an email and say if we're gonna move it Wednesday or 2 Wednesdays or whatever, but I don't start throwing stuff out, we don't know when. So, and so we haven't got the okay, but we've got that might work. But I'm trying to figure out the names first. Here. Requested. So I will hope about that. And we will, we decided we will start doing hybrid meetings, how it goes. So our next meeting that we have, and Jen and I will try to just manage the Zoom room, and then if it's a case, we'll start.
You're begging the commissioners to come and be in person.
Yes,
Yes.
so,
Yes, he said aye. Begging the meeting. Commissioners to
yeah,
come
I
in.
think commissioners have brought that up at the last meeting, so I don't think council has a rule, you know, they do hybrid meetings, they have a rule, it's just they want to be there, so they can be there. So, they absolutely can, so they're choosing to, two that are there, most of the time they're all there, so. And I think if we were to have a hearing and many commissioners were not never of them. Maybe not the best, but folks that came back.
So that was gonna kind of be my question, is there an assumption we'd be here, and if we aren't, should we let someone know ahead of time?
Absolutely, you should let us know ahead of time. And
There's enough opportunity to guilt you into showing up.
And I mean, maybe as a commission, you come up with kind of your own rules about that, you know. Somebody's always on Zoom, is that fine? Do you have a, do you wanna ask, you know, normally if you're gonna be absent, you ask the president, or you, I don't know how much to ask, tell you, you have the ability to say that's an excused absent, so. I think that's should not.
Play it by ear,
We'll play it by ear, I think that.
but the option is.
And I say, I appreciate it. Very much. That is actually.
Yeah, stay tuned about the location, I was supposed to remind you now to the end of the meeting, I was supposed to remind everybody to talk slightly louder, sorry, Jen.
Okay.
Especially Commissioner Ryback, that doesn't get picked up really well from front of the mic, you kind of trail off, as you're talking or maybe turn. For this, so if you have your head down, or I think it's harder for the mic, but if you're looking up.
The top.
I mean, we just want to make sure that, you know, people can hear conversation and. Our new group and new location for the workout are in it. So. We will keep you posted about the location. If we do secure a location, it's not time for whatever the next meeting is, our agenda. Well, if it's a hearing, our notice goes out 20 days in advance, so we have to put the location on here. So a hearing notice. That's kind of our lead time to make it. So yeah, back to August meetings, if we want to have both, we can, you know, just items.
We have to do this once.
Sure do.
So we probably should. There's still enough lead time to get the case for the August.
Not for the August 5th
Not
one,
for August,
but for the 19th.
for the night.
Okay, so then we could comfortably cancel the August 5th meeting. Okay. Any objections? No. No, so canceled. All right,
And then if we don't have any cases for the 19th, maybe I'll just email you about it. Maybe we get the airport to come.
Yeah, that'd be funny.
But I'll try. For that time.
we're not really nervous now, though, they'll make it.
The other commissioners have items.
Sounds good. Any,
And your letter for the annual report.
is it still time?
Yeah.
Well, you know, I'll tell you, I read the whole report.
Yeah.
It was very well written and extolled our value to a great extent. I was almost embarrassed at the work that I had done over the past year. And I wasn't quite sure what to say other than staff did a really good job of making us look good.
Yeah.
So, and I didn't quite know how to word that, but I could go take this, I'll go take a shot.
So you don't have to.
Okay.
I mean, you haven't, and Commissioner Briggs, when she was president, didn't. I would say like HLC, the chairs always do, and they kind of write a this is what the commission's been talking about this past year, this is what's important to us, or this is what we want to do looking forward. They do more, like kind of outside of the commission projects, outside of pieces and various needs. They just very eager to take on many volunteer kind of activities. They write a newsletter 4 times a year for the commission, so HLC, yeah, so, you know, they host events and various, so. It's totally up to you, if you don't want to, but, we do have to get our report to council before August 1st, that's the code, no, sorry, October.
Oh.
That's the code, so we generally, you know, spring, summer.
Yeah. I got that message. Can I ask for one?
Sure.
All right, that's what we.
I heard you got free food at work, so. I'm already one day.
I'm not asking for money for the planning commission, maybe for the second. Anything else? Anything for the good of the order? Richard? All right, how about that?